From Vermont Public, this is The Frequency. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. It's Wednesday, October 29th, and here are today's headlines. Vermont has joined 24 other states to sue the Trump administration over federal food benefits. Funding for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, known as SNAP, will run out November 1st due to the government shutdown. And the Trump administration says it will not tap into an emergency fund to keep benefits available in the short term. Roughly 63,000 Vermonters depend on the SNAP program every month. Attorney General Charity Clark talked to Vermont Public about the suit. She says it asks a federal judge to require the administration to use the contingency funds as authorized by Congress.
The fact that the president's administration is opting illegally to not use that money is a violation of law.
Meanwhile, Governor Phil Scott and legislative leaders are considering using state funds to keep Vermont's SNAP program operating if that lawsuit fails. They'll meet today to discuss the plan. Some Republicans in Congress are also looking at solutions. They're backing a bill to pay for SNAP during the shutdown. And Democratic Vermont Senator Peter Welch says he's on board.
I do think it's helpful that you've got a bipartisan bill on nutrition and the SNAP benefits. Because it's just showing a shared concern about what the impact of the shutdown is.
Still, Welch says the bill likely will not succeed without President Trump's support. You can find more updates on the situation during All Things Considered and at vermontpublic.org. Southwestern Vermont Medical Center has tapped its next leader. The Bennington Banner reports Dr. Estevan Garcia has been named the next CEO and president of the Bennington Hospital. The medical center is part of the Dartmouth Health Network. Garcia has a 30-year career in healthcare as a specialist in pediatric emergency medicine. He was most recently Dartmouth's inaugural Chief Health and Wellness Officer. Prior to that, Garcia was the Chief Medical Officer for the Massachusetts Department of Health. He has held multiple leadership positions at hospitals in Massachusetts and New York. He's replacing Thomas A.D., who was retiring in January. And Burlington is expanding its homeless shelter capacity ahead of the winter season. The Committee on Temporary Shelter is putting the finishing touches on a newly renovated shelter downtown. Last year, the space served as a winter warming shelter with beds lined up in a large common area. Now, the shelter has room for a lot more guests. It also has more privacy, according to John Farrell. He's the committee's executive director and spoke at a ribbon-cutting event on Monday.
We are beyond excited to share this with you. Inside, you will see a thoughtful, well-designed, accessible, dignified, trauma-informed space that will welcome our neighbors with respect.
The shelter will be able to accommodate up to 56 people. Coming up, plans for a new Vergennes-located juvenile detention center fell through, leaving the state casting around for a new developer to take over the project. Vermont Public's Liam Elder-Connors discusses the obstacles that have kept the facility from getting a green light and why officials say it's necessary. That's after this. Vermont is seeking a new developer to build a 15-bed locked facility for youth involved in the criminal justice system. The request comes a few months after the Department for Children and Families dropped its plans to build the facility in Vergennes. Vermont Public reporter Liam Elder-Connors has been covering the story, and he spoke about it with host Mary Engish.
Liam, tell us a little bit about what this RFP that the state just issued. What exactly are they looking for a developer to build?
Yeah, like you said in the introduction, they're looking for someone to construct a new locked facility that can hold youth that are involved in the criminal justice system. And they're looking to have this be 15 beds, and those beds would be a mixture of longer-term treatment stays and then also a couple of beds that are for shorter-term, what they say are stabilization stays. So sort of a shorter period of time where they're figuring out what to do with the youth. This is basically the same project that the state was looking to build in Vergennes. One of the big differences this time in this RFP is that the state is asking the developer to find the site to build this facility, as well as handling all the local permits and any potential zoning changes that would happen there. So this just got posted, this RFP, so we'll have to wait and see how many people actually put in bids and then who the state actually goes with.
Okay, and Vermont hasn't had that permanent secure facility for justice-involved youth for the last 5 years. Can you get us up to speed on what's been happening since 2020?
That's right. So back in 2020, the state's only juvenile detention center, a facility called Woodside, shut down. And Woodside closed amid allegations that staff there used excessive force against kids that were in the facility. And so the state has been trying to find a place to build a new permanent facility for justice-involved youth since then, and they haven't really had any luck. There was a 6-bed facility that they wanted to build in Newberry that fell through, and there was also this project in Vergennes that the state pulled back from this summer. There's been local opposition to both of those projects, and those have that's played a role in sort of what's been going on here. But the state's been trying for a while and hasn't had any success at replacing Woodside.
Well, where have youth been sent in the meantime?
Well, there have been a few different things that have happened. The Department for Children and Families has stepped up their use of one-to-one staffing, where they have one staff member sort of watching over one youth. They also have opened up a facility called Red Clover. This is a locked facility. It's only 4 beds, and it's a temporary facility in Middlesex, and that's for short-term stabilization stays. But one thing that is happening is that more youth are being sent to adult prisons. This was something that happened while Woodside was open. Kids could be placed at Woodside if they were in the custody of the Department of Corrections, but now without a permanent locked juvenile facility, more youth are being placed in adult prisons when they're charged as adults. And so DOC has said they've seen more kids in prisons in recent years.
Yeah. One last question for you, Liam. Are people concerned about this uptick in youth being held in adult prisons?
It's certainly a concern. Prisons are not set up to hold youth, and that's something that the Department of Corrections has said many times. In federal regulations require what's called sight and sound separation when youth are held in adult prisons. And what that amounts to is essentially solitary confinement, because the youth aren't allowed to mix with the adult population. And child welfare advocates have expressed some concern about this. There was a 16-year-old recently held at a state correctional facility for 19 days. And the Office of the Child, Youth, and Family Advocate told me that the youth was alone for many hours a day and was concerned and didn't have a very good time there. The youth now in Red Clover. DCF says that things like this highlight the need for a facility, and advocates say that really we need more community treatment and less locked facilities.
That's Vermont Public Reporter Liam Elder Connors. Liam, thanks so much.
You bet.
Thanks for listening to The Frequency today. We had additional reporting from Bob Kinzel, Adia Galston, and Carly Berlin. Today's episode was edited by Stephanie Colombini, and our music is by Blue Dot Sessions. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. Talk to you tomorrow.
Sources and methods, the crown jewels of the intelligence community. Shorthand for how do we know what's real? Who told us? If you have those answers, you're on the inside, and NPR wants to bring you there. From the Pentagon to the State Department to spy agencies, listen to understand what's really happening and what it means for you. Sources and Methods, the new national security podcast from NPR.